I've not been in.
Okay. Y'all listen. All right, let's work through these 7 through 10 and make sure you understand why we're doing what we're doing. All right. So number 7 says calculate the pH and the POH for each of the following solutions at 25 degrees Celsius. So if you are given OH concentration, then you need to start with POH. So the formula for your POH is negative log of your hydroxide concentration. So that is negative log of this concentration. So 1 times 10 to the negative third. This is where you get your calculator, and if you haven't figured out where your logs button is, typically it's up underneath your, you're going to have a button that says second. But you're going to say negative log, put in your number, 1 times 10 to the negative 3. Oops. And you're going to get 3. So POH equals 3. So that's the first thing it said. Well, then it wants you to find the pH. Well, remember you have that formula of POH plus pH equals 14. So that means that pH equals 14 minus your POH. So that's 14 minus 3, so pH equals 11. Everybody get that one right?
Yes, ma'am.
Got a question about it? All right. The second one gives you the hydrogen ion concentration. So that means we're going to go straight to pH, negative log of your hydrogen ion concentration. So that's negative log of 1. So pH equals, when you do negative log of 1, you get 0. So pH is 0. And yes, I know in your brain you can say 14 minus 0 is 0 or equals 14 and be fine. But remember on the AP test, they want you to show your work. So take the extra couple of seconds to show that you're calculating POH by saying 14 minus 0. So POH equals 14. Questions about that one? Feel okay about that?
Yes.
All right. Exercise 8 tells you, okay, you've got a pH of human blood that is measured to be 7.41. And they want you to calculate POH, the hydrogen ion concentration, and the hydroxide ion concentration. Well, POH is easy to calculate. POH is 14 minus your pH, which is 7.41. So you get 6.59. So that's quickly, you got your pH and you got your POH. Now you've got to go back to figure out, remember your pH formula is your negative log of your hydrogen ion concentration. Well, you want to find that hydrogen ion concentration. We know pH. So if I rearrange this equation, then I get my hydrogen ion concentration is equal to my pH over my negative log. Okay? Log. So that really works out, it's your inverse log. So it works out to be 10 to your negative pH. And your pH is 7.41. So 10 to the negative 7.41. Inverse log. So that means if you go to your calculator, right above the log button on mine, you've got in green, it says 10 to the x. Okay, it doesn't matter which type of calculator you have. You should have a second button, and there should be a 10 to the x above your log. That means the inverse log. So if you go second inverse log, do you see that little 10 with the blinking box up at the top of it as a superscript? So I'm going to put in my negative 7.41 from my pH, hit equal, and it's going to give me this big long number, right? Which actually is, so my H plus is equal to 3.9 times 10, and it's actually the 10 to the negative 8 if I count all my zeros. And that's a concentration, so I need to put a big capital M. Yes, sir. Yes, you can get a calculator. If you don't have a calculator, you might want to get one so you can practice as we're going along. Make sure you know how to get the inverse log and all that. So to find the hydroxide concentration, we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to use the POH. So my hydroxide concentration equals my POH. So it's 10 to the negative POH, which equals, so when I go second log of negative 6.59, I get 2.57, which is 2.6 times 10 to the negative 7. And that's also a molar. So hydroxide ion concentration equals that. Following make sense? Questions? Comments? Problems? Everybody's okay? I'm hearing crickets. Okay. Exercise 9. Calculate the pH. Okay, if it's a strong acid, if it's one of your 6 strong acids, then you don't have to really worry about much. We're going to get into weak acids and weak bases, and you have to treat them a little bit differently. You're going to have to do a rice table. Okay, we're going to do that on Monday. But for strong acids and strong bases, you can go straight to pH and POH. So it's asking you for the POH of HNO3. Well, that's one of your strong acids, right? So we can go straight to pH equals negative log of that concentration, which is 0.1. So when you work that out, pH is equal to negative log of 0.1, and you get 1. Okay. Calculate the pH of 1 times 10 to the negative 10 hydrochloric acid. So same thing, pH equals negative log of 1 times 10 to the negative 10. So negative log of 1 times 10 to the negative 10 gives me a pH of 10. Is that a very acidic acid? 10's pretty basic, right? Okay, how can an acid be a base? How can it be basic? When these acids dissociate, what are they dissociating in? Water. So if it's a really, really, really tiny concentration, so not very concentrated acid, and you're adding it to water that's acting as the base, then the water dilutes the acid so much that it actually is a basic solution. Does that make sense? Acid has to be pretty concentrated to be acidic in the long run. All right, exercise 10. Calculate the pH of a 5 times 10 to the negative second molar sodium hydroxide solution. Well, I mean, this tells you pH of strong base, so you know it's a strong base, but is sodium in the first two columns of the periodic table? Oh, that scared me. Is sodium in the first two columns?
Yes.
Yes. And it's a hydroxide of group 1. Yeah, it is like a ghost. It did. Nobody's around it, and I hadn't moved. And okay.
Okay, so what are your feelings about, the ghosties?
I don't know.
Because I mean,
I think there's some gremlins around sometimes. Anyway, so even if it didn't tell you that this was a strong base, should you know that it's a strong base? It's a hydroxide of a group 1 metal. Yes, it's a strong base. Okay. Phew. Okay. So we can't go straight to pH because we're talking about a base. So this is the concentration of the hydroxide. So that means we've got to do POH first. So negative log of the concentration of the OH, which is 5 times 10 to the negative second. So negative log of 5 times 10 to the negative second. And you should get that the POH is 1.30. So then that means that pH is 14 minus 1.3. So pH equals 12.7. Did you get that? Understanding that so far? Okay, we're going to practice this a little bit. I know you're so excited.
I'm just trying to figure out how that picture felt.
I want to know how the picture felt too.
I wouldn't touch it. If you touch
It's a
it,
government secret.
It's a government secret. Actually, it's probably more that the
Government
the
secret.
spring is kind of sprung. I don't know.
but still, something had to move to make it move. But something had to make that move in order to make that move.
Alright, so this worksheet is 2 pages. Yeah, pass the whole thing back. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I know the answer to number 6.
There you go. You got it worked out? It's Friday. It's Friday.
Oh, it's Friday so far.
It's Friday and I gotta work till 10.
Miss Pam, your class has always had a dirty than you.
Ms. Robertson wants to hear Miss Smith.
It's Friday and I'm going home.
Yeah, I don't know where everybody is. I didn't get the memo to not be here
Get
today.
out.
They're all just having a party. Yeah,
I could have used that memo.
Have you seen where like all the teachers are protesting in West Virginia?
Yes, I did. They all walked out.
Why are they haven't gone to school in like a year. Are they
Overpaid.
Yeah.
We mean overpaid.
They walked out. No, they are not. They walked out overpaid because they are not getting paid enough. So they walked out wanting a raise.
Yeah, I feel like every teacher should get
I think students should get paid.
No, I would go.
What?
I mean, it'd be nice, but
It'd be nice.
Wait,
It's
what?
in a great world, but that's not going to happen.
I feel like this. If they're gonna pay, they should pay
If you made above,
you get a certain amount of money for like A's on
if
your
you could
property.
maintain
That would
above
drive
a
me
95
better.
average, all your classes should get paid.
See,
Remember the credit union, take your report card up there, they give you money every time.
If you should, why not just a 50?
so I can take my report card.
If you could keep above a 95 in all your classes. No, because that's impossible.
I can't remember, it's not a lot, but they do give you.
It is not impossible at all. It's impossible
So,
for us.
like, I would have all A's. So I could like
What's the con? I'd be straight.
I think it is about $3.
I'll try
I
it.
want to say 3. I don't know why. I want to say
I'd be
3,
like,
but I'm going to say
she's like,
$3.
"Mommy,
3 times
She's dropped all the hard classes.
$24.
$24.
What is the hard
Just read an easy
Because you already seen it. Exactly.
All right, y'all look at number 1 and number 2 and try those. And then we're going to talk about them before we go to 3 because 3 has an added list to it.
calculate the concentration. I know that.
I know you love to add it to this.
All right.
I'm gonna leave out this other page so I have
What?
a reference.
You gotta. Wait, isn't it gives me more time to let the grade go?
Yeah.
No, you did.
Yes, I did.
You didn't add. Everything's my fault. Everything is your fault. I don't blame it on me. No, I'm good. Double pump sucks, dog.
The
Don't.
double pump.
I had 4 emails, bro.
Hello? Yes, ma'am.
One time I was
Did you get mine?